Welcome back, penguins. Today we are gonna find out if we can beat a palace with items only. This challenge didn't start in a palace because I needed to farm materials so I could craft the items. And the last one required to renounce to my free time for some days, especially because I couldn't pick Awakami to waste the materials. Then where it started? In Mementos, the only place where you can trick a child with flowers for valuable items that inflict status change and to farm everything you need for the challenge. There was a material, the thick parchment, that required a lot of time to farm because the best way to obtain some was by killing enemies, and sometimes I needed to exterminate a Shadow's family just to obtain 0. After reaching a good amount of everything, it was time to go home and start to craft items. It took some days and at the end we reached a good amount. The only problem was that I couldn't create a lot of curse bomb and atom match because you can't farm the materials in this part of the game. Only one thing remained to do before I could say I was ready: equip the right persona to use. And that persona is Ariadne. Thanks to our tag team, you don't need to trick the children for the rest of the challenge. Now I could start the infiltration in the space bunker. After the long preparation, I wanted to fight against the first shadow I saw and try the strategy I had in mind for a long time. Use an item to down the enemy and then use Sacramental Breed or Strudel to insta-kill. But I never expect an enemy strong to buff blast and curse damage, so when the strategy didn't work, I didn't know what to do. But suddenly, the enemy gave me a suggestion: let it escape and accept the deal. This wasn't the start I was expecting, and to be honest, it was a little sad. I promised to myself that the last enemy would be the last one to escape from me, and with my resolve born anew, I met the worst normal shadow in the palace, Patrick. It seems a joke, but for me, this enemy didn't have a weakness, even if they're weak to normal attack. So to activate tag team, I needed to waste an item that inflicts status change, and then I could deal a technical damage. But sometimes, the enemy didn't go down, so we consumed a lot of items to kill every one of them. At least this time, we won the fight. We met another pair of Harabaki, but this time, I kept my promise and insta-killed both. Right after, we met Aru's father and fiancé. She knew that the only way to kill the last one was to awake her persona because he's weak to cute cursed twin cosplay. Maybe it's my weakness. I tried right away to insta-kill the mini-boss because he wasn't immune to blast attack, but he blocked my per item. So without other things I could do, I accepted that the challenge was over. Or this was what he wanted to hear, because I started to make it rain items on his face. So at the end, victory was ours, at a great cost. I used 41 items only for this fight. Maybe right now you ask yourself the right question: are you consuming a lot of items just at the start? The answer is yes. And our Habaki wasn't helping us either, because he needs too much bomb before insta-kill works. While exploring the palace, we found a map and some doors that required IDs from robots that hold an important position in their job. And as a good Karen will do, I was ready to kill them so I could talk with the manager. But to find them, I took an elevator to reach another floor, where we met our first target, and after a one-side conversation, we did a two-side conversation where he gave us an important information about our next target. The only thing that remained was to dispose of the trash. The fight went on for 8 minutes because the minions can full heal the Slenderman, and the Slenderman can summon a minion. It was a really bad cycle for the damage we were doing, and waiting to use tag team wasn't helping us because I kept giving the minions the turn to heal the boss, and the boss the turn to call for backup. So I changed strategy and started to waste more items just to kill it as fast as I could, and it worked. Finally, I met my favorite shadow in this palace, weak to blast kills, and you know what that means? That he dies easily because of a piece of bread. But this encounter didn't help to change my mind for what I would have done just 20 minutes later. Finding the robot with the ID started to be like a guess who game, where I needed to choose one between different robots. But I couldn't expect someone with the experience from the first gameplay, so I already knew my target. This time the mini-boss was with 3 minions, and every time I was able to bring down the number to 1, Noodle used call for backup. This went on, and on, and on, and at the same time my teammate kept dying. So without hesitation I restarted the game. After I dropped a Michidol as a gift, nothing was working in a great way. We wasted a lot of items just in the first part, and we couldn't even kill the mini-boss. Something needed to change. So I reloaded a safe before infiltrating the palace and broke the broken laptop. The same evening I fixed it, and the next day I gave my credit card number without thinking so I could buy stronger items, but some of them were behind a pay-to-win wall. That means that I needed to wait 3 days for the package and made another order, but again some items were missing. After another 3 days, finally the second package arrived and I was able to use mom's cash to do another order where I booked everything I needed, and something more, just in case. Only another 3 more days and I was finally ready for Stickman. I went back to the palace and tried again our first fight, and this time it went far better. Maybe you want to know why I waited 9 days for some items. Because in the last tier you can buy Holy Shroud and Ouija board, both work as a family pack insta-kill. But the real moment of truth to know if we were far stronger than before was when I fought against Aru's fiancé again. This time it was a Magatama raid. What is Magatama supposed to mean? Jade Ball. In the fight we used only 21 items than 41 as in the first run. Maybe we finally solved all the problems that we had in the first run. It didn't take long to reach the part where we needed to steal ID from Stickmans, and the first fight was easy. The mini-boss was almost dead after one Magatama, and dead with the third one. Oh, with a Molotov. I was so full of myself that I was ready to play Guess Who and choose the wrong noodle, but the second fight wasn't as fast as the first one. At least Tag Team and Magatama was so good that let us surpass our first run. Only buff Slenderman remained before we could talk with the manager, and the fight was even easier than Noodle-chan. The best part was when I could use an item booked with Mom's cash that deals curse damage to all enemies. If only it was 150 damage than 50, it would be great. With our last idea we went back to open the door and took an elevator to reach the space. What? Patrick wasn't the only problem in the palace, because this time we found Butterfree, and this enemy were annoying. You know what's satisfying? All enemies that die from the family pack breed. One strange thing happened in the palace. Aru was able to do 65 damage with an item that deals 50. I don't know why. Our walk in the space ended really fast and we reached the export line. Here we started to doubt ourselves. Were we killing the robots when they die just by working? But when the story cutscene ended, we went back to the kill spree. We met new faces here, Unstarlike's best costume and ours, a roach. Yes, both killable with Holy Shroud. The export line was easy to complete, you just need to increase their speed and use them as a bridge. The next section was the production line, where we met VC Man. Learn how short launch break are, and use a door to reach the last line of production, where you can find the combination of the features we just saw and the enemies we already killed. At least one new thing was ready for us, the Burger Fandom. And I'll be honest, in this fight I understood why items deal a static damage to only one foe. Killing all 50 yellow enemies and one blue because of one misclick was easy. Only one last part remained, the jump of faith in the space, where you need to go through the right doors, pull the right levers to open the right doors so you can reach another room, and repeat the process until you reach the next section, where you need to repeat the same things but with a new type of door. We met new enemies here, but they all died in the old ways. I gave a chance to the last Seas Guardian and he was killable with the same process as the other mini-bosses. Do you remember the atom bomb that we couldn't create because of the lack of materials? Well, I needed only one in the whole palace. After took another elevator, we reached the treasure and only one thing remains, the calling card. As always, we sent it the next day so that we could start the boss fight, but a surprise was ready for us. We had only 10 minutes to reach Okumura before he would escape. We needed to run as fast as we could and to avoid all enemies, so I fight them and started to walk. Needless to say, but I still had time at the end. We finally met Okumura, but he was already asking for forgiveness. And as a good naive tease, we forgave him, until he trapped us, because everything was just an acting. Put a shocked Pikachu face here if you want. Morgana tried to put some sense in Okumura by doing a small talk how money and fame can buy everything, for example, his teammate. But he doesn't know that the only way to buy Makoto figure is with money. At least he freed us. Finally, the fight started, but we didn't fight against Space Astro Boy. Here, the boss is the Burger Fandom, and we had only 30 minutes to beat them, but It's almost impossible that you waste all the time. In the first wave, we met the blue robots. With only 8 Magatama, they were dead. Before the next wave, we found the real man, weak to the cute girl doing cosplay. It's Astro Boy, that summoned their fake doctor, doing a cosplay as an Astro Girl. The second wave started, and this time we met the yellow robots, where our problem started. I was doing the usual strategy, put an enemy down, then use a Magatama item against each enemies without consuming it. Wait that all the enemies recover and repeat the process. But after 2 turns, the corpo robots split, and Astro Boy resets the wave. That means that we need to kill all of them before their second turn. I failed another time to get rid of all, but at the third try, I finally completed the wave, just by using more items. Another wave started, and this time with noodles. I tried different times to beat them, but at the third one, they killed all of us. I restarted the battle right away. I killed both the blue and the yellow robots without problems. Against the noodles, I try a strategy I had in mind. Use a Magatama item with the other members even if we consume it. Thanks to this plan, I was able to beat them. But after the noodles, we met thicker noodles that has more health. You still need to kill them in 2 turns, but with items only, I couldn't. They have 750 health each. That means in total 3000. The max damage in theory I can do with items in 2 turns is 4400 with Magatama and Vegito bombs, but we can craft the last one in this part of the game. The other option available right now deals 2800 damage with the 5-inch nail, and it's not enough. At the end I killed them with skills. But the thicker noodles weren't the only problem. In fact, there was another wave with the buff Slenderman that you need to kill in 2 turns again, and they have more health. They met the same end as the noodles. Finally, we met the executive director, the only corporate robot that doesn't escape from the fight. I knew that I could kill it with items, so I started my usual raid. But I hadn't enough time. At least I saw the special ending where you die. I restarted the fight and skipped right to the last part against the bigger buffest Slenderman and started to use items. I found a really interesting strategy. You can use a freeze spray to freeze the enemy before this turn to make the robots keep it. That means that we were able to kill it without the executive director using a turn. The fight continued after Slenderman because Okumura sent the cosplayer to fight against us. I used all the items, but at the end she sacrificed herself. Finally, only Astro Boy remained, and I gave Haru the possibility to murder her father with a Magatama item. Well, penguins, that means that you can beat a palace with items only if you don't meet an enemy that escapes after their second turn, and you need to repeat the fight until you kill it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.